Paul Skenes is making Cy Young noise. The Pirates are allergic to road wins, and Jared Triolo might be more than just a glove. Maybe. Let's dig in next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Pirates, your daily dose of black and gold baseball. I'm Gary Morgan, and today we've got three segments that hit harder than a Skenes fastball. First, we break down Paul Skenes' dominant outing and his Cy Young case. Then we explore the Pirates' bizarre home and road splits. And finally, we ask, is Jared Triolo's bat finally catching up to his glove? Let's get into it. But first, this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament, and this ends on October 31st, 2025. Paul Skenes, he is in the thick of this Cy Young chase. Sunday, his start against the Rockies was just another masterpiece. A revenge game for him. His outing in Colorado did not go up to standard. And man, did he just have no mercy for them whatsoever in this outing. 7 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts. And it was just a masterpiece. His season line right now stands at 8-9, so he's almost gotten that record back where he needs it to be. I don't think he needs to have a positive win-loss record in order to win the Cy Young, mind you, but it wouldn't hurt. Let's just be honest. If you have one excuse as to why not to give it to him, that's probably it. 2.07 ERA, 161 innings pitched, 181 strikeouts, and a whip of 0.94. Listen, how many different ways can I tell you how awesome this guy is? Let's talk about the competition, because believe it or not, there is some pretty damn stiff competition for this Cy Young. None bigger than Zach Wheeler, who is, unfortunately gone now. And we heard even Paul's comments about that, but Wheeler being out like for the season now with this thoracic outlet surgery, which I won't pretend I understand, but it had something to do with a clot. Thankfully, it sounds like they got rid of it and everything, but and he should be able to continue on with his life and career and everything. But this was definitely not the way you want to kind of clear the runway for Paul, but it just felt like to me that was basically the award being decided right then and there. Christopher Sanchez, though, his numbers are insane too. 11-4 for Philadelphia, a 2.46 ERA, 169 K, and a 110 whip. He has been unbelievable. And in any other year, I'd say, yeah, that's got a real shot. I really would. Matthew Boyd. This one came out of nowhere. There can't be anybody, including the Cubs, that expected to get what they're getting out of Matthew Boyd. A 12-6 record, 2.61 ERA, 129 Ks, which has never really been that big of a part of his game, and a 104 whip. He has been otherworldly. And then the last dark horse that I'll mention that's as far as like competition for Paul here, Andrew Abbott with Cincinnati has been really, really good. Like under the radar, really good. We've heard about a lot of young pitchers in this division, especially Mizorowski gets a lot of coverage. Hunter Green, the Pirates have a whole stable of them that we talk about routinely. But Andrew Abbott, he's kind of emerged for Cincinnati, and he's been really, really consistent too. 8-3, 2.28 ERA, 112 Ks, and a 108 whip. I mean, that's a damn good pitcher. For real. Andrew Abbott's going to be a thorn in our side for a minute. And Cincinnati, it's funny how much it mirrors what the Pirates have done. They have better offense, they really do. But that young pitching is what's going to carry them if they're going to turn this into anything in the next several seasons. And it mirrors almost identically what the Pirates are trying to do. And they went the route of trying to hire a good coach that could help get them there, that had a lot of experience to drag them into the finish line. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the moves they made at the deadline as far as trying to improve the team, but that's the kind of track that you would hope you're on. You're moving into the future with this pitching, and you've got enough hitting around it to make it interesting. Well, that's kind of the goal. It's got to get there next year. So Christopher Sanchez, Matthew Boyd, and Andrew Abbott, to me, they're the main competition, but I just don't know that they're that much of competition. I mean, Paul's got, if you think about it, a really, really good shot to get his ERA under 2 by the end of this season. 207 right now. You figure a couple more shutout outings, which I know that sounds like an ignorant thing to even say when you're talking about baseball, like to just presume that you're going to get another couple shutouts. But how could I not presume he's going to get another couple shutouts? He seems to do it just about every time out. I mean, this is an unbelievable pitcher. I understand the optics of that win-loss record. I really do. But I just can't imagine that the voters are not going to completely understand and sympathize with the team he's on. Almost look at his record as oh my God, in spite of being on that team, look what he did. I think that's where we'll be by the time the final tally point comes at the end of the season. I think he will have that win-loss record in the positive territory. I'm not saying it'll be by a wide margin, but I think he'll get it up over 500. And I think his ERA has a real shot to plummet even further. He is at the top of his game right this second. And I think the way the Pirates are managing him too, I think even if he did struggle, there's a good chance they're going to let him throw enough innings to counterbalance it. And I just feel like the ERA is going to continue to go down. And this is just going to be an undeniable question by the end of the season. I love Christopher Sanchez and what he's done this year. And actually, I think his future is really bright. That guy's really an impressive pitcher. I know we've seen him go against the Pirates, and you tend to discount it because he's facing the Pirates. But, man, that is a solid left-handed pitcher. And any team would be lucky to have him. And I would argue that he's definitely got Cy Young numbers even right now in a normal season. Just not when you're in competition with Paul Skenes. It's just too brilliant. He's got the best ERA among qualified NL starters. He's top 5 in strikeouts. He's got dominant home splits, much like the rest of the team. If the Pirates weren't 57 and 74, I think this is a lot easier decision. But even on a losing team, his numbers are fairly undeniable. Paul Skenes, I believe, will be the Cy Young winner by the end of this season. And I'm really looking forward to it because I think it's about all we've had this year that kind of went as expected. We expected Paul Skenes to deliver this year, and Paul Skenes delivered. He has been every bit the mega star that we hoped he would be. He's done everything in his power to drag up a lesser talented team and make them look competent. I think he's about the only thing that we've been able to hang our hats on all year. It would be really nice to get some gratification for it. No offense to, Jared Triolo, but it's more exciting than a gold glove for a utility guy. I want some national recognition for Paul, and he deserves it. And I think we deserve it. We haven't had a whole lot to smile about this year. Let's let Paul continue to be that one thing a little bit further into the off season. When we come back, We're going to talk a little bit about this home and road split situation the Pirates have going on. It's actually unbelievable. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies and making great memories with friends, it's a hole in one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. I was just golfing up at Strawberry Field up in the North Hills. I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but I notoriously lose about 20 balls every time I go there. And a friend of mine I was going with, we were going to golf together, and I was warning him how many balls he'd lose, and he showed up with an entire pack of recycled balls. And I thought about betting how many of those balls he'd go through. And then we both had the cleanest round of our lives. It was amazing. 5-Hour Energy might have played a role. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up for the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5FIVEHE win.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Hey, welcome back to Ye Old Locked On Pirates. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit a subscribe for me and drop a like. Give me a comment. I'd really like those. I'm going to start trying to do the AMA segment instead of a full show. I want to make sure that we have a couple shows a week where I get some Ask Me Anything type questions in there. So really, anytime that you feel you have a question, please drop it in the comments and I will try to use them on the show to answer you. I answer you sometimes in the comments and I feel like they get lost. It's a very hard commenting system to use, I think, as far as like going back and tracking what you've looked for a reply to. So let's do it on the show. It'll make it a little easier. Pirates home and road splits. Oh my goodness, what's going on? 57 and 74 overall. 39 and 30 at home. 18 and 44 on the road. 18. Does it feel like they've only won 18 games on the road this year? My goodness, does it? Kinda. I mean, when you're watching it, I guess it's really hard to digest that those numbers are happening. We know the overall record and you think about that regularly, but do you really think about how drastically different a baseball team this is at home versus on the road? What is causing this? I mean, that's a 565 win percentage at home versus a 290 on the road. Only the Rockies, with their 212 average and 616 OPS, are worse away from home than the Pirates, who only have a 214 average and a 611 OPS. I could make an argument the Rockies are actually better. At home, Pirates OPS 711. Away, 611. Home runs 42 at home, 52 away. How does that work? So I thought when I started going into this subject, I thought to myself, I'm going to find that they're doing X, Y, and Z incredibly better at home. And that's not what I found. That's not what I found. The home run number was freaky to me. I can understand it from a ballpark dimension standpoint. It's easier to hit home runs in some of these away ballparks for the Pirates, I'm quite sure. But My goodness. Now at home, they have scored 273 runs. Away, 196. So the 10 extra home runs have not led to a whole bunch of extra runs. I just don't understand it. It's not just strange, it's rare. Other teams that have gigantic splits like in OPS from home and away, the Orioles have a 656 OPS away from home and a 780 at home. The Royals have a 705 away versus a 765 at home. That's not that crazy. Most of these aren't that crazy. The Orioles are nuts. That's a big drop off away, but still respectable away. You get what I mean? Like 656 isn't good, but on the road, I think you're kind of like, yeah, okay. You'd rather be up over 700, but you'd accept it. 780 at home, that's great. You're happy with it. The Rockies have a 792 at home and a 616 away. I can't imagine how that wouldn't make sense to you. Colorado is a different place to hit. I think most teams probably have a higher OPS in Colorado than they do elsewhere. So that makes total sense. It's the only split that really makes any sense. The Pirates drop-off is especially stark. It's not just hitting, it's pitching, defense, energy. The road woes are systemic. I don't know what to make of it. I would say that one of the things that we should be measuring Don Kelly on, really, is how he affects this sort of thing. It hasn't gotten better under his tutelage. It's something that I would like to see him be able to crack the code for. There's got to be something that is happening differently on the road versus at home. This isn't just luck, right? I don't know what this is. Are they scouting differently for the road teams when they travel? Or do they have a different system of scouting? Do they have are they riding around in the old Cleveland Indians playing for Major League like when they travel and it's like intentionally killing them and making them awful on the road? Maybe. I mean, most do you think that Bob Nutting is pretty much the same owner as depicted in that movie? What is it though? What could it possibly be? You would think like with the record disparaged like this that at home they're being roundly supported and like the crowds are just enthusiastically behind them. I honestly think the Pirates get more support on the road at times. This ballpark gets flooded with outside people. This one, like, if the New York Mets come, it's going to be a New York Mets audience. If the Cincinnati Reds come, it's going to be a Cincinnati Reds audience. Cubs. Brewers don't travel very well, but like for the most part, those other teams, when they come here, Pittsburgh's a destination ballpark. They want to see PNC. They love it. They want to come see the experience. They think there's a good chance their team's going to win on the road when they come to Pittsburgh. I can't imagine why they would have an assumption like that. But they haven't been met with that reward. I mean, the Pirates are winning at home. I just don't understand where it's coming from. I wish I could tell you statistically I see it. Mentality, I can tell you that I think Paul Skenes, in many ways, and this is one player, but Paul Skenes is a guy who is extremely particular about his mound. And I don't know if you've ever seen him pregame, like if you show up for batting practice or whatever, you always see him pay a little bit of extra attention to the mound and center. He has them make some adjustments sometimes to the landing zone, fortify up his foothold a little bit. You see him do this on the road too. Sometimes he'll ask for an adjustment to be made to the mound sometime in between the second and third innings. Like he's experienced it for a couple innings and doesn't like it and wants something to change. I think we've seen that over time. That's one player. It's the only one I can think of that does anything that kind of picky there. The only other thing I can think of is that this is a team that when they're at home, they embrace who they are. They already feel discouraged as an offensive unit that they can't hit enough home runs to win most games. So they embrace the type of player they are when they're at home, where they also have themselves convinced they can't hit a lot of home runs. So they don't try. They try to just play baseball. They draw walks. They run the bases. They bunt. They slap balls to the opposite field. They move guys over. They hit sac flies. They do all those things that winning baseball teams do. They play great defense at home. They pitch really well at home. They do an awful lot of things like that lead to home victories. And all I can think is it's a mentality switch. When they get on the road, I think maybe they get into some of these smaller ballparks and they think, well, hey, now that we're outside of PNC Park, we can hit home runs. And then that's all they do is try to hit home runs. And the stats say they hit about 10 more. So maybe that's working. It isn't resulting in wins, though. Something tells me that you need to convince yourself that if you're going to be a small ball team, that you're always a small ball team, regardless of ballpark. And I'm making this up anyway. I'm trying. I'm grasping at straws to come up with a reason for you why the home and road splits are so... I can't come up with it. So the best I can think is like your mentality is different when you leave. And they play a different brand of baseball on the road. You know it. You've watched these games. Yeah, there is a definitive thing with the energy, like being down on the road. And I see that too. But a lot of that, I think, is because they're often getting down really early on the road, or they have epic failures to move runners along, early on in a contest. They get an opportunity against a starter. Sometimes you only get that one or two opportunities early before they settle in. And once you failed to do that, well, unfortunately, the Pirates settle in too, to their fate. They're a different team at home, and somebody, Donnie, needs to explore why. You don't need me to answer this. You need Don Kelly to answer this. More importantly, if Don Kelly is going to come back as the coach next year, well, I really need him to answer it, because I certainly can't have it be a repeat. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about Jared Triolo. I know, everybody's favorite subject and player. It's going to be fun. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1, this is your moment. My champion, the Detroit Lions. Man, visit FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Jared Triolo. Is the bat finally here? No, I know that's your answer. So we can probably just end the segment right now, right? That's not how it works. You know that. Since being recalled after the trade deadline, Triolo has quietly turned a corner. And if you're thinking, yes, we've seen him do this before, yes, we have. We have. When Jared Triolo first became an option here, he impressed us with the glove right away. We had heard about the glove. I had been tracking the glove for quite some time. I think back in 2022, I predicted that he would be on the major league roster and spend a significant amount of time on the major league roster, primarily due to his glove. I've been proven right, but I did not think that he would hit the way he has. I thought he would hit terribly at first, but I thought he would warm to the task, and he has not warmed to the task until very recently. His last 15 games, 292 average, 382 on base percentage, 375 slug, 14 hits, 7 walks, 3 stolen bases. He's reached base in 13 straight games. He's hitting 444 with a 1.278 OPS during that stretch. So what's changed, honestly? Because I kept telling you, I think early on, I don't know if I can trust this until I can see or pinpoint what has actually changed. Well, Jared says he's made some adjustments with his hands and his approach, focusing on pitch selection and attacking mistakes. Swing looks cleaner, and the results are finally showing up. Okay. I mean, I looked back at some different at-bats of his from earlier in the season versus now, and I see what he's talking about with the hands. But my goodness, it's such a small change. It's very difficult for me to believe that it's created this completely different player than we've looked at. The nicest way I can put it, I'm not convinced. Not yet. The fear I think a lot of Pirates fans have is that the team will be. The team will be entirely convinced by this. And I think that that's founded. And the reason that I think it's founded is because I think it's very likely. It's very likely that Jared Triolo is asked to be the starting third baseman and or shortstop. I do think you've seen a couple things change, though. I think the team has decided that they're done wondering if the power is going to really emerge in a big way. And so they've stopped forcing him into third base, where he's fine. But maybe his bat plays better as a shortstop. I think the glove plays as a shortstop, and I certainly think he could be a stopgap there for a while. I've said this before. I think he's a Jordy Mercer comp. I think Jordy Mercer, Clint Barnes, I want to say early Jay Bell before he really found his offensive groove. That sort of player, there is a place for it. And one thing I just want to kind of caution fans about, I understand when you're done with a player. You know, you've decided that you've seen enough, and I totally get that. But I just want to remind people that I think it takes 2-3 seasons sometimes to really understand where a guy's going to settle. Okay. And that's not a tried and true thing. It's not like it's always the case, but I think when you have a guy that can do something at the major league level and he can do it really well, like Jared with the glove, there aren't a lot of guys that can touch him. All right. So you know that you've got something there. You can do something with that. I just don't think this team is in a place where they can toss away guys that have something that's legitimately major league capable. They have to be a little more patient with it, especially if you're talking about trying to internally grow. If you're trying to internally grow, for instance, when you bring back Nick Gonzalez next year, you're not going to look at Nick's numbers for this year and expect him to duplicate it next year. You're going to expect better because you expect him to be on an upward trajectory. Well, the Pirates need to convince themselves that Jared Triolo is on an upward trajectory. These stats say he kind of is. But I need to understand, like, if you really think that that's something that can continue in to the off season and come back with him next year. This is the thing with Jared. Nothing that he's ever done and adjusted and corrected as the season has played out has, to this date, carried over the offseason and come back with him in the spring. The Pirates aren't going to be able to wait until they see how he's doing next year before they decide whether they need somebody there or not. That's what the rest of this season is for. And you have to believe what you can believe. I personally think that the best thing they could do is to think about having a guy like Jared Triolo as a potential starter at shortstop, have him duke it out with Cam Devaney, and I'd have that going on right now. Lieber Piguero, I think, has shown you that at the very least, the glove at shortstop is not comparable in any way to Jared Triolo or Cam Devaney. So I'd like to get eyes on them. I'd like to have a real camp battle for those two, and I'd like anybody to be able to win it. In fact, I think Jared Triolo is going to make the team one way or another next year just for the glove and the utility aspect of what he can do. But I just want Cam Devaney to have an opportunity to win the spot. That's all. And I would think we'd benefit from seeing a little bit of it this season. I don't know if Jared Triolo is real or not. But I know right now, making up your mind about him and holding steadfast to it, that's your choice. That's not the way I look at players. I tend to be a lot more open-minded for the understanding that it takes a few years for things to develop or clinch or come together. And I'm willing to give that to Jared. The frame's there. I like what I'm seeing with the swing right now. The glove has always been there. He's not a complete player, but he's got too much there to just flush. Okay. And you don't have to. You're not forced into that decision. He's still dirt cheap next year. It's not like it hurts. It's like you have to go out and give him $8 million to stick around. If you were in that position, you're having a different conversation about Jared Triolo. Last thing I want to touch on here, the Pirates have claimed infielder Ryan Kreidler off waivers from the Tigers. Pirates had an open spot on their 40-man roster for Kreidler, so no corresponding move was really necessary. The club's roster now stands at 40 players. I have no idea why this selection was made. He's been a guy who's bounced up and down from AAA to the majors and gotten very little opportunity when he has. It's actually a very, very similar career path to Lieber Piguero. I don't understand that. I don't understand the handling of Lieber Piguero, and it makes me feel like I'm not going to understand the handling of Ryan Kreidler. I also just kind of don't care all that much. We've seen them do this about 1 billion times where they pick guys up off waivers and then, a couple days later they need a 40-man spot and they end up DFAing him. And sometimes they sneak the guy through. Sometimes he gets picked up by someone else. I mean, we've seen this so many times. I don't see the upside here, though. I don't. This is another guy that does not have power, at least has not shown power. I don't necessarily see the capability of power in there. I don't see like the big OPS numbers or anything. Even his numbers in a small sample in AAA this year aren't that impressive. I'm not sure I see the vision here. It could just be filling innings and in the case that they're going to call up like, Nick York and potentially Devaney. They might want this guy because he really legitimately can play a lot of positions: center field, shortstop, third base, second base, even left field he's played. So you can do just about anything with him. And we know that they're desperate for outfield coverage in AAA. That's why they called up Sammy Ciani from AA Altoona. So it's probably just AAA filler, to be honest. But I wouldn't be shocked if this guy wound up being waived next week to make room for Hunter Barco. I mean, legitimately, until I see what they're planning here, I have no reason to get excited about it. And how many times have we touched the hot handle on giving a crap about these guys they pick up in waivers only to not really have to care? I'll remind you, Ronnie Simone or Simon was brought up. Was a guy just like this, claimed off waivers, sat down in the minors forever and ever. Finally came up. This guy doesn't even have that pedigree. Simon was a 2nd-round draft pick. Kreidler's a 4th-round draft pick. I don't see the vision here. Power is the thing this team needs to be trying to find, not Judy hitting utility players. I mean, like, maybe you come out of it with an MLB average player, but this team needs power. That's exactly why you'd be willing to move on from guys like IKF and FAM and name who else, because they don't have enough power. That's what this team has to add. So anything they add that doesn't have it, I'm just like, okay, I don't care. Paul Skenes is chasing history. The Pirates are chasing road wins, and Jared Triolo might just be chasing a starting job in 2026. That's it for today's Locked On Pirates. Subscribe, share, and we'll see you next time tomorrow morning on Locked On Pirates.